screen moms in India are very self-sacrificing martyrs. Like, that's the ideal Indian mom on screen, you know? The one who's like, oh no, I don't need to eat, you eat, you know? I have no needs, all I want is for you to be happy. And I think traces of that are in all cultures, you know? Like, that is valorized. So to have a mother who has her needs, who has desires, who is a sexual being, is provocative, but also, like, these moms are everywhere. I had the good fortune to work with an amazing casting director. He's a veteran. He cast Monsoon Wedding. He did the Indian casting for Life of Pi. And he was doing a two-pronged approach. One was auditioning actors who have credits, because India is a huge film industry. There are lots of young actors who've done a lot of work, and also doing open casting calls at schools. And hard to hear? Yeah. I'll maybe project that way instead of at Jenn. Yes, I think we were 5 months into casting, and lots of tapes where actors are good, they're competent, they can do the scene analysis, are hitting all the beats, but don't feel alive to me in a way. You know, just there's something about it where I feel like I know what the next beat is going to look like. And she came through an open casting call, and the casting director and I were both immediately taken. The audition scene, she had two. One was the one where she dances in front of the mirror and her mom catches her. And in that, she had this unself-consciousness. I feel like a lot of young people now, because people are used to selfies and their angles, I think it changes people's body language. I just felt like she felt like a 90s kid to me. And then the second audition scene was the astronomy scene, where they two meet and flirt. And a lot of young actresses tended to play it very coy, you know, to bat their eyelids. And I think this is how we're used to seeing young women on screen falling in love. And that is not how she was written. And I always, like, if I had a chance in a callback to talk to these actors, I would say, but you are the head prefect. But when I saw Preeti's tape, she had been a head prefect in her school. She's a very self-possessed young woman.
She lived it.
She lived
it.
Life
experience.
Yeah, and the way she played this scene, she liked this boy, but she had such a strength and dignity to her that she didn't do any of the simpering.
Was she when you shot the movie?
She was 21.
Okay.
And by the time she came for her callback, she, of course, had read the script. She made her sister and her mom also read the script so that she could talk to them about all the intimate scenes. And she came basically having cleared any hurdle there could be to the first callback.
Preeti Panigrahi is her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I looked her up on Instagram. Her handle is Preeti Woman. WOOMAN.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that and I was like, this woman has an amazing sense of humor.
Yeah.
Which I think you can feel right from the start of the movie when she gets up to that speaker and she's too close and it, like, you know, the speaker flares and she's just like, oh, sorry. How was she already that? I mean, I loved the way that, you know, when he starts to, you know, when he comes up to the bulletin board and he's like, can I hang you? And she's like, it's not really a 2-person job. Okay. I was like, I love her. I don't know. I just loved her presence and her just self-possessed nature and her courage and bravery. Just, she was who she was, and she was so, like, fully formed already, I felt. So, I don't know. I just think she's an amazing discovery. So, thanks for casting her.
Oh, my God.
The woman that plays her mom, though, too, is she a big star in India?
She should be. She's on her way to becoming a big star. Kani Khusruti.
Okay.
So she is from the southern state of Kerala, which has a big film industry. So she's very well known in the south. And I had known of her work. I had watched her in a short film that was at Sundance and then in another series, and was obsessed. And so she was always on our first list. And the casting director, Dilip Shankar, was very pleased that she was on my list, because he was like, she's one of my favorite actors in India. And people may not think to cast her for this type of part. And in fact, when I reached out to her and she read the script, she was like, I don't understand this script. I don't understand this mom. What kind of mom is this? She's like, I don't. And she's like, I don't know this boarding school ethos. She's like, why do you want to cast me? But she had done an audition by that point, which was when she meets the boy comes home for the first time. And I had seen this tape and felt so anxious, because her as an actress, she has this quality where you do not know if she's going to smile, if she's going to snap, is she going to storm out of this room. Like you are on edge. And that is a quality that this mom needed. And I said to her, I was like, I don't care if you don't know the ethos. I feel like emotionally you get this character.
Yeah.
And you can do it.
That's awesome.
And she's
you freak me out. I need you. And I was reading about her yesterday. She's also in another big award season movie, All the Light We Cannot See, isn't it? Or is it?
All We Imagine As Light.
All We Imagine As Light.
Which opens this Friday.
And I didn't realize it, but I was on the jury for Indian Film Festival of LA a few years ago, and I saw her in Biryani.
Yes.
So when I saw it, I was like, I know this woman.
Yeah.
I'm so glad she's getting work. And
I know.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic. You got two of India's greatest actors in your film.
Thank you.
I guess we should talk about the boy now. Did you have a hard time finding your lead boy?
Yeah. I don't know what.
Keshav Kiran?
Yeah, Keshav Vinay Kiran. Because it's a hard character, you know? I felt like he needed to be charming enough that you feel like she would break these rules, and that he is opening up literally and figuratively new worlds to her, but also not too charming, because then he's immediately a big red flag and you're like, don't go there. Mm-hmm. And then he has to be man enough for the mom, boy enough for her. So it was a hard thing, because either I thought some of the boys felt like too charming and I was like, definitely not, or others for whom I felt there was no danger. And so he had this nice mix of the charm, but also a genuine niceness. You know, I do think that he cares about her. He cares about the mom. And so you needed to feel that. And he kind of had it. And then truly the proof was when we put them both together. Mm-hmm. And they did the astronomy scene together. And they improvised like a moment where they locked their pinkies, and in their first audition. And then, of course, in the film it appears in a different moment, but it became their thing that they used in various scenes, including in a very important one then.
Can you make another movie where he's like a nice guy and it's like a fun love story between the two? I was like, I'd love to see this too, but only with him being a nicer person.
Well, hopefully this experience is going to turn him into a nicer person.
So you said something about when the mom auditioned, she said, I don't understand this character.
Yeah.
And I did feel like I noticed a few things that were different about this film that are different from other Indian films that I've seen. Not that I've seen that many Indian films, but, you know, Indian films that reach the United States.
Yeah.
Which is the attitude of the mother kind of competing with her own daughter for the attention of the boy. And also how quickly they get to the sex, which is on their first date, they're going to second base. And I was just like, wow, these kids are going fast. I was just like, which, you know, for an American film, I probably wouldn't be, because it kind of seems like a lot of films are like that. But is it different for an Indian film to have the sexuality that's portrayed in this film?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of any Indian film. I didn't watch any Indian films growing up that had real sexuality. they could be very sexy. Like if you watch Bollywood films, mainstream Bollywood films, and the songs that are in there, the choreography can be extremely suggestive. Like people can dress in ways that are very revealing, but anything that feels truly real, I didn't see. So
Are there restrictions against like kissing in Bollywood films? And I always felt like when I watched a Bollywood musical, there would never be any kissing on the mouth.
And there wasn't. I think in like the last 10 years, things have changed. Now there is kissing. There is also some sexuality. But it's like the kind of sexuality that I never believe, which also happens in Western cinema where like the women are always still wearing their bras. And I'm like, have you had sex?
They all keep their bras on at sex.
Yeah.
They all have single beds, but somehow they have a child. That was like when the production code in the United States was like, somehow these people have children, but they seem to sleep in single beds too. I don't know what's happening. Do they just push them together a few nights a month?
I guess so.
So what have you shown the film in India then?
It just showed there actually. We had the premiere 2 weeks ago.
And what was the reaction from the audience? Was anybody saying, like, this is too sexy, or this was sexy, I loved it?
I mean, it played at a film festival, so you have to, it's a festival audience in Bombay or Mumbai. But people loved it. I usually don't sit through the screenings, but I sat through a good part of the first one just to watch. And I could feel that people liked it. They were laughing at culturally specific things that maybe a Western audience may not, like when the mom covers the phone with a towel, like so much laughter because all those people have done that shit, they've been up to those shenanigans. But then the sexuality, the cute moments that might get a laugh elsewhere, I felt more embarrassment, that not that people recognition, but people were like, oh, like maybe their auntie is in the room or, they don't know how their friend is reacting. But, and then I didn't go to the other 2 screenings, but I heard that it played like a blockbuster. Like
That's
just
fantastic.
just lots of like, laughter, gasping, talking back at the screen. And Indian audiences, when they love a film, can be extremely vocal. So I was happy to hear that because I kind of think it's the accessible film.
Yeah. Did you worry that Indian actors would have a problem doing explicit scenes?
Yeah.
And what were your 2 actors when you told them they'd have to do the scenes, were they very scared of it?
I didn't tell anyone they have to do it. I just told them this is what the film. We were very clear from the beginning that the film had intimacy. Before they met me, they got the full script so they could read it and know what, and be fully prepared and be, that they knew what they were consenting to. And when they came, all the actors who came for callbacks had questions. And, I would always be like, okay, do you have any questions? And I knew the questions would always be about the sexuality, except Preeti and Keshav. Actually, they did not have questions about the sexuality. They had other questions about the characters. And then at some point I was like, do you have any questions about the sexuality? And he said, no. It seems that I understand why it's in the film. So they were also, I think a lot of actors didn't audition at all when they heard there was intimacy in the film. So I've had that experience in the past. My previous short film, it's called A Period Piece. It's about an afternoon of period sex, like period as in menstruation, not like time period. To clarify,
An afternoon of 1850 sex.
Yeah, exactly. Is much more, it has nudity. Like this one doesn't have nudity because like realistically, if you're a teenager sneaking around, you're not taking your clothes off. But that one has nudity, and it was Indian American characters and was very hard to cast because most people didn't want to do it. But then the actors who filtered through are sort of interesting, intrepid bunch, and I think the same thing happened with this. And And because Preeti, I think Keshav didn't tell his parents until they saw the film. I think that he was like, yeah, there's some kissing and stuff in it. But Preeti, on the other hand, had her mother read the script. And she came and said, I have had, just because of the script, I had conversations with my mom that I've never had before. And I feel like the film's going to do that for people.
Wow.
And I think that's important.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that the subject matter of having the mother kind of flirt with the boy or, dance with the boy and do things like, do you think that subject matter is provocative in India too? Like that situation?
Probably. I mean, screen moms in India are very self-sacrificing martyrs. Like that's the ideal Indian mom on screen, the one who's like, oh no, I don't need to eat, you eat, I have no needs, all I want is for you to be happy. And I think traces of that are in all cultures, like women that is valorized. So to have a mother who has her needs, who has desires, who is a sexual being is provocative, but also like these moms are everywhere. I knew women like this growing up, and everywhere the film screens, someone will be like, oh, my mom is just like that, or my friend's mom, or my aunt. Like everyone knows this because it's like a function of our society, where we prize women for youth and beauty. So as you get older, you lose cachet, and then how can you not feel envious? And hopefully, if society is going in the right direction, which it doesn't always, each generation of women, the younger generation has more rights and freedoms than the older. So then how will the older generation not feel a little sad? I'm like, great, you have this, you can wear a mini skirt and have a boyfriend, but I didn't get to do that. And so, I don't know, I feel like that's a function of our society.
I kind of related to that a lot, but I grew up with a teenage mom. My mom had me when she was 17. So when I was in high school, like we shared clothes.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, at times, it felt like that, although Preeti, makes that comment early on about hating her mom or like, she's so freaking annoying or whatever. But I want to talk about the part, the ending where they're at the school, the sort of like build up to this moment at the school where the boys come after her and she has to lock herself in the room, and then the mom rescuing her on the motorcycle, and they're like driving off, and they're like, "Fuck you, everybody." But the scene where Shri comes over. Can you talk about crafting that scene? I watched it again the other day, and I was like, "There's so much." That's the kind of ending scene that I love because there's so much that's not being said directly. But you're kind of assuming what things are going to happen after this. But basically, Shri comes over. He says people have locks.
Yeah.
He's basically saying he manipulates people.
Yeah.
He's a lock picker. Yeah. And then after that, it doesn't seem like they're so hot for him anymore. But both of them kind of become chilly.
Yeah.
At the same time. Can you talk about, like, was this always your idea for the ending of this, or did you toy with some other things?
I love how you're like, but what about Shri? Why can't he be redeemed?
I'm okay if he's a jerk. Well, I'll let him
go. So from very early drafts, the film always ended with him leaving and the mother and daughter left alone. So there was always a clue, even from early drafts, as to what the film wanted to be. And it was not like the real love story was not between her and the boy. It's between her and the mom. However, it was not earned because this whole key sequence was not in the film. And I had an amazing mentor, script mentor, who worked with me. And she said, this boy, he's very charming. And underneath charm, there is often a river of contempt. And I feel like it hit me so hard because that is how I had seen him. But everyone who read the script until that point, or at least many people, were like, well, he seems really nice. He seems to be like giving people what they need and catering to people's needs. And he seems like, I don't know, emotionally astute. But that's not how I saw him. But this one line sort of unlocked something. And she also said that Mira needs to see that in order, and then say goodbye to him. And that's when your ending will feel earned. And I would say probably overnight, I wrote the first draft of the key sequence. Everything from him getting the key from the teacher, manipulating the teacher, and the first rough pass of the conversation, and sent it to her. And I was like something like this? Like, is this doing it? And I think until that came together, the script didn't really come together.
I felt like I saw her make the choice in the scene.
Yeah.
Because he says what he says to the mom, which is, I pretend to like your cooking.
Yeah.
And the mom goes into the kitchen and she looks into the kitchen to the mom.
Yeah.
For the reaction from the mom. And I felt like she decided right then.
Yeah.
She's not going to let him talk to her mom like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really disrespectful.
Yeah. And it's like interesting because in some ways, I feel like the mom catches on earlier in that scene. The mom gets really chilly when he's talking about manipulating the teacher. And I think the mom sort of gets it. She feels like a chill. And then the daughter catches on to it. And then really feels like compassion and sadness for her mom, who seemed to really care about this boy.
Yeah. I mean, the rescue on the scooter, I think, turned everything.
Yeah.
She might not have looked to see what the reaction of her mother would have been if that moment hadn't happened. But now she cares about what the mom thinks.
Yeah. And it's not just the rescue. It's the fact that, like, when her teacher is like, has he been coming to your place? Mira says no, she lies. And her mom is like, yes, and so what? And when they walk out of that teacher's, from the dorm room and the boys are there, like, they don't walk out ashamed. They walk out sort of defiant, looking at people in there, like they look the boys in the eye. And I think that kind of like strength and fuck you that I think that, causes her to see her mom differently too.
Isn't one of the kids sitting on the bike? She's like, get off of there. Yeah, I loved it. It was so strong. And after that too, I was like, oh, so the mom has something inside that the preety is like that.
Yeah.
She's gotten it from her mother.
Yeah.
Like a little rebellious.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Sleep.
I know you've been doing a lot of publicity.
Yeah, sleep and then
Q&As.
slowly. Not Q&As, but no, sleep and slowly marinating and writing. I think stories take a while to mature.
Yeah.
And
I don't actually think it takes the whole movie for you to feel that way about the boy.
Yeah.
He's so subtly crafted.
Yeah.
It takes you a long time to feel like, oh, this kid might have some problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad.
He might be a sociopath.
I'm glad because I think that was really important to me, that you make the turn with Mira. You're not ahead of her. So as she begins to feel like, did he listen to my tape? Like, why not? Like, does he have a good explanation? Yeah. That you do it with her. And in the edit, that was like the thing that we tested. Like, okay, when do you start feeling suspicious of this boy? I want to know. you know.
And she asked the question in the moment, like watching the movie, I'm just like, why am I not more like this when I date? Asking the questions in the moment. She asked the question in the moment. You lied to me.
Yeah.
I thought that we were learning about sex together and you've already done it with someone in Hong Kong. Like, she picked up on that
Yeah.
like, right away. She does have a good antenna.
Well, that's what you can do when you write a teenager when you're older. You can make them a little smarter.
But then she second guesses herself because he's hot. So
Yeah.
that's what we all do.
Uh,
Well, congratulations on this movie. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Is it already out? You can rent it online now on Amazon.
No,
right?
it finished its theatrical run.
Okay.
And it will be on whatever TVOD or whatever it's called in a month or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be available for people to rent on streaming.
Yeah.
On Amazon?
Probably. Yeah.
Wherever you rent films.
Yeah, wherever you rent films. But yeah, sometime in December.
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever you're going to make next.
Thank
Just
you.
make it fast. I need it.
I'll try.